the cover was detached, and I said, that is perfect. When would you love to have a detached split cover? When the inside cover is a house ad to Action 1.
Overstreet Advisor Ben Labonog gives us a peek into his ultra rare Golden Age collection. Ben has been working on this for over 30 years, and each of the books you see is rarer than Action Comics #1, and many of them are 100 times rarer than Amazing Fantasy 15. So Ben, without further ado, let's see these old, rare, valuable books.
Everybody may or may not know this is Schomburg's first cover for Timely, Daring Mystery 1, which was one of the early first titles that Joe Simon worked on. And release date with this would be late October 1939. So, gosh, we're talking about several weeks, 2 months maybe after Marvel 1 was out. Very early book with the background. It's got like the old, I don't know, reminds me of Flash Gordon. There's another one that's a rarity. Red Raven 1. This was out late May 1940. Jack Kirby's first signed work for Timely. He did the Mercury story in here, and then one other story. He went by a pen name on one of them. I can't remember what his pen name was, but the other one he did sign Jack Kirby. And as you know, most of this cover is a cover swipe. Prince Valiant, yeah, this part right here, there was a panel that was this is swiped. So then you have the Red Raven. Pretty difficult book to find. And if you're a Kirby fan or a Timely guy, go get this one. This is pretty cool. 1940 right there.
Yeah, Ben, if I'm not mistaken, that's the first book that started the series of Human Torch, right? So the next book came out and it was Human Torch. They call it Human Torch #1, but it's actually #2 in that series, correct?
That's correct. I'm glad you brought that up because I should have mentioned that. And they were just able to say, hey, you know what? We're going to change the title, keep the copyright still, I guess. And Goodman was a master at changing that around. So we're just going to call this Torch, Human Torch 1, but it'll be 1, 2. So yeah. That always confused me. When I first saw that, I'm like, Human Torch 1, 2. I go, okay, so it's really #2 because Red Raven is really #1, but it transformed into Human Torch. Weird Wild West. They were not squeaky clean and polished like DC or MLJ. These were pushed the limits. I mean, look at their covers were wild. They had the monsters and the ghouls and the Nazis. I mean, so yeah. This was another cream of the crop here. Marvel Mystery 9. Very tough book. This came out the same month as the Red Raven, about a week or so before May 1940. This has always been a big ticket Timely book. I got my first copy in 1997 from Ted Van Leeuw, Superworld. And I remember to this day doing that deal. I was so excited. And I don't have that copy, unfortunately, anymore, but I think this one suffices. It's still pretty nice. Just love that the battle pose there of Submariner. Huge, gigantic muscles, and of course his ankle wings, which apparently are in the movie. So, didn't have this type of square head yet, the triangular head. Kind of had a mop of hair back then. But this is about as classic as you can with the A trains above and the torch coming back behind. And then what cracks me up, I remember Richard Bedrock used to point this out. And what's this guy gonna do? Really, what's he really gonna do, right?
Yeah, and for the listeners out there, that's also the first superhero battle.
That's correct. That's the first time 2 superheroes battled in a comic. And then here's the 5, which I've got a very long history of too. The reds on this are actually exceptional. This is another one that we talked about, the orange. Typically the torch is orange. Actually, let me pull my upgrade out. You can see I have 2 of these. Can you tell which one is more orangey? It's more orangey, and this one is definitely redder.
That's right. Yeah. Well, and folks, you're looking at probably 4 to 5% of the entire books known to exist of Marvel Mystery 5. Yeah, what a great book.
Yeah, and I used to own the 2.0 as well that I bought a long time ago. One interesting note on Marvel 5 is I've always liked the jawline that Schomburg drew. Kind of a weird detail, but he still had hair back then, right? Some people don't like that, but I just think it's very pulpy.
Yeah.
the bondage, the girl in the yellow dress thrown in the furnace, early, pulpy, just fantastic. Here's another woman. She's not in the tube. This is the first Submariner cover by Schomburg, Marvel Mystery 4. There's the damsel right there. I just love this Death Raider right here. Right there. That's just pretty cool right there. Funny story on this one, out on French flag here for some reason. I don't know what this is. It's a French fleet. I got this off eBay, but the guy I got it from said he got it from an estate in eastern Pennsylvania. And there were only he said, a half a dozen books in there in this wooden cubby hole. And all of them were Archies, except for this one. That's the story he told me anyway. They told me. So kind of weird, but, hey, it's part of the story. So, and the thing is, Schomburg did not get the memo from Jim Everett because I'm not Jim Everett. Why did I say Jim Everett? That's the quarterback for the Rams. Bill Everett created. Notice there's no ankle wings on Submariner's feet. It doesn't really bother me, but I wish they were because that's Submariner, right? But
that's such an early comic book to have the Nazi symbol on it too, because you're talking about this is really early 1940, right?
This would have been out December 39, actually. It's a February 40 publication date, but it was out December 39, so very early. There's always some debate on whether it's the first swastika cover because there's a Top Notch Comics number 2 or 3 that was right at the same time. I mean, this is definitely the first timely that has the swastika. Considering the war, we didn't enter the war until 2 years later.
That's correct.
Very early. And so they were starting to use propaganda. The war had started, but we weren't involved. Right. Here's another cool one. Now this is interesting because the cover is completely split and detached, which works in my favor because I don't care about the cover because I want to display the inside front cover. So this is More Fun 32 from May, June 1938, and this is one of the early Action 1 house ads. And luckily, the cover is split and detached because if it wasn't, I'd be looking at a horse being painted to look like a zebra, one of those goofy pre-hero More Fun covers. The cover was detached, and I said, that is perfect. When would you love to have a detached split cover? When the inside cover is a house ad to Action 1. That's when you'd want it. So I purposely flipped it around, and some people say, well, you should be displaying the cover. I said, no, I didn't buy this for the cover. I bought it for the ad on the inside cover. And so I'll never get this slabbed unless they slab it this way, which I don't know. CGC might not. They may say, nope, we're not slabbing it that way. But I don't care because that's what I paid for, right? Probably never own an Action 1, and that's okay. That's a status book. I think this is the next best thing because this is 1938.
Yeah, this is almost like that Gobbledygook number 1 that has the ad for TMNT 1.
My one Sandman cover, and I think this is the best one. I like 42 as well. 40 is not bad, but 46, this is a pretty tough book. This is would have been out December of 39. Same month as Tech 35 and Marvel Mystery 4 for that matter, all in the same month. Craig Flessel cover. I think there's a signature there. Where is it? There it is. Gas mask and fedora hat and cape and green suit, gloves. I mean, but yeah, this is a pretty tough book. I think there's only 20 on the census, something like that. Here's the Adventure 34. With the elephant cover. This is a Gardner cover. Really early pre-hero. Would have been out December 38. Yeah, it's a January 39, but this is definitely a December 38 release date. Just check out the elephant and the blood there. Right there. And then look at this guy's face. Oh my gosh. I can't load the rifle fast enough. It's right there. I mean, this guy, he kills me. Look at his eyes. Like, oh my God, we are in trouble. I got this from Yaniv, Stray Flexen, one of the most knowledgeable younger Golden Age collectors. In fact, I always tell him I'm passing the torch to him because he's pretty savvy and for being early to mid 20s. Well, let me get out one of your favorites here.
I can't wait.
I pulled it just for you.
Yay.
And I have a pretty interesting story on this This book looks like a VG, but it is the spine is completely split and detached. Again, another full Schomburg signature. That is a must on that book. I have seen books where that's missing, and that's a deal breaker for me on this one. This is actually the second copy I've owned. I had a 5 restored that I had, and I ended up selling that one. But I got lucky to get this one. The gentleman is a board member that sold this to me. Should have had this for about 8 years now, at 9 years. They were found in a wooden trunk, and there was about half a dozen timelies in there. And this was the only non-timely in there. A wooden trunk in Minnesota. I mean, who would have known? Don't know any other details. One day I randomly asked him, "Hey, you got a Suspense 3?" He goes, "Yeah, I got one." He was kind of 50-50 on selling it, but at the time I made him an offer that I felt like, okay, if he's going to take it, I think this is a very fair and generous offer. And he said, "Yeah, okay, I'll sell it." Full moon, right. Bats, jungle, guns, knives, hooded Nazis, and then the damsel in distress. Bonfire. Yeah. It's a cult book for sure. I mean, it's probably Schomburg's best. I remember seeing it in the photo journal in the mid-90s when I first saw it. I'm like, that's wild. And then I look at Overstreet's from 1980, like looking at 1980 Overstreet, and you'll see it. I think it's listed for like $4 or $5. It's not even broken out in the guide because the photo journal is what made it popular. Saw that splash page, that little image. They're like, what is that? And then forget about it. Everyone was looking for this book. I mean, I like it, but I have a feeling you love it more.
Ben, you're absolutely right. I love Suspense Comics number 3, and it's in my top 25 comic books. And if you're interested in seeing my personal collection, check out this video. Thanks for watching. Ben, thank you for joining us, and hope to see you around real soon.